Hello everyone and welcome back to another year-end video. In this video, I'm going to be covering my top 11 favorite albums of the year 2023. So let's just hop right into this video. Coming in at number 11, we have Kim Dracula with their album A Gradual Decline in Morale. Let me be the first to say this is an acquired taste. I had no idea who this band was until my cousin played me a song by them, and when I first heard it, I was like, this is kind of trash. Then I saw them open up live for Avenged Sevenfold last year, and I was like, you know what, there may be something there. There are so many different musical elements in this thing, from funk to screamo, deathcore. It's all over the place. The lead singer, I don't know his name, has one of the craziest vocal ranges I have ever heard in my life. Now, this is a concept album about basically being famous and kind of the cost of what it takes to be famous. And with this being their debut album, they came out swinging, and I think that they hit. Coming in at number 10, we have Emarosa with their album Sting. For whatever reason, Emarosa decided to go down this 80s path. They pull a lot of influence from the 1985, as well as artists who were literally started out in the 80s. What I like about this is that while it has this huge 80s sound, Emarosa still sprinkles in modern pop to it. Big, booming 80s instrumentation, over-the-top, soaring choruses. I absolutely loved the journey that this album took me on. Waiting all night, out of nowhere, baby's on fire, but she don't care. Try to keep quiet, honest I swear, baby's on fire, but she don't. Coming in at number 9, we have The Maine with their self-titled album. Also, forgive me, I think I have a little bit of a cold, so I might be stuffy. This album is such a dance vibe. Like, this album just makes me want to dance, like, constantly. I know for a fact this band started out when I was in high school because the lyrics are very much from that era. Very much sad pop rock, but they put it into a dance vibe, and I absolutely love it. Not to mention, they're putting out music like this over a decade into their careers, which I always think is really cool. Just can't keep my mind off you. The pain's so deep, I can't get through. Midnight black and white tattoos. Just the same old fights, they just won't do. Now I just can't keep my mind off. Coming in at number 8, we have Blink-182 with their album One More Time. Now, call me a sucker for nostalgia or whatever you want, I still love this album. This didn't feel like an album of clashing ideas. This sounded like an album where Tom, Travis, and Mark all sat down and said, hey, let's make something that we really want to make. Blink-182, aside from all their fart jokes and stuff that make them laugh, show maturity on this album. Songs about aging. Mark singing about his cancer. Tom singing about, coming to grips with who he is in the band. There was a lot of maturity thrown into this album. Blink-182 is kind of like Toy Story to me. They both started when I was young, and as I've gotten older, they have just both gradually been there. And I will keep watching Toy Story, and I will keep listening to Blink-182. At number 7, we have the album A Call to the Void by the band Hot Milk. Now, to me, their very obvious influence is Sleeping with Sirens. This is just a really fun rock album with a few very serious moments sprinkled in. The members of the band at times essentially looking inward and, again, trying to navigate their way through this crazy world. I really don't have much to say about this album aside from it's very energetic from start to finish. It gets the blood pumping, and I really, really, really like the dynamic. I don't know how many members are in the band, but there are 2 singers, male, female, and I love their dynamic together throughout the whole album. number 6, we have Take Me Back to Eden by Sleep Token. It kind of reminds me of The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, not in sound, but more in like concept. There are a lot of deep meanings throughout this entire album, and I guess it could be viewed as kind of a rock opera, but I just kind of view it as like just this huge rock odyssey. There are themes of love in this, of loss in this, and basically how the band personally deals with all of that. Instrumentally, this was just a fantastic album. Vocally, this was a fantastic album. And I can't say anything more than please check this album out. And the closer to this song, Euclid, I believe is how you say it, it's so awesome. Coming in at number 5, we have the album Human by the band Resolve. I think Resolve is one of the most important bands in the metalcore scene right now. This album very heavily deals with addiction. You look at songs on this album like Comfortably Dumb, Death Awaits, coming from the point of somebody who struggles with alcohol. However, I say this band is important in the metalcore scene because I feel like they bring something to the table that not a lot of metalcore bands are doing right now. And as far as lyrical content goes, I think Resolve is putting out some of the best lyrical content in the metalcore scene right now. If you have any interest in metalcore at all, please check this album out because the instrumentation is phenomenal. It's unique, and the vocalist absolutely kills it on every single song. Coming in at number 4, we have A Kiss for the Whole World by Enter Shikari. This is the first album I've ever heard by Enter Shikari, and wow. On another side note, it also is some of my favorite album artwork that I've ever seen. Enter Shikari really is their own thing. Lyrically, this album deals a lot with my interpretation of being kind of trapped in relationships and relationships ending and how to deal with it. The metaphors that Enter Shikari uses throughout the album to describe those things is very, very unique. This band has so much talent, and you can hear it in this. I think the album's only like 35 minutes long, but in that 35 minutes, you can hear just how talented this band actually is. Coming in at number 3 is the surprise of 2023 for me. I love that when I make these lists, there's always one or even two bands that just come out of nowhere and just surprise the heck out of me, and this was one of them. Coming in at number 3, we have the album Unreal Unearth by Hozier. This is my absolute favorite album when it comes to just vocals. Hozier's voice is unbelievably amazing. I never thought I would check out a Hozier album, but I'm glad I did because now I refuse to miss another Hozier album. When it comes to love and loss, I don't know if I've heard an artist personally who sings about it, writes about it, delivers a performance about it, as well as Hozier. And to go along with that, I was reading not too long ago that this album actually has to do with diving into the different layers of hell, Dante's Inferno. Hozier's singing about his descent into the different 9 layers of hell throughout the album, and then by the end, finding his way back out. It is a very interesting and unique concept album. I don't know if this album really flew under the radar for people, but I hope it didn't, and I hope that you listen to this album because it is a unique and different experience than you get from other albums about love. At number 2, I want to say that this is kind of a surprise, but not really. My second favorite album of this year comes from a band that I've loved for years, and they have put out pretty dang good albums for the past few years. However, they were never this good. Coming in in at number 2 is the album So Much for Stardust by Fall Out Boy. Now, I watched a couple reviews on this album of people saying that this album is only minorly better than Mania, which absolutely blows my mind. This album is leaps and bounds above Mania. I don't hate Mania. I'm just stating my opinion. They mixed in elements of like orchestral pieces. They have spoken pieces, which aren't new, but they are very good. There are elements where Patrick Stump is singing about addiction on this album and how he can overcome that. But the thing that really stood out to me about this album was how cohesive the band sounds. The instrumentation on this whole album is my favorite, by far, on any Fall Out Boy album I have ever heard. They even experiment with their instrumentation, which I think is important at this point in their careers. And I have to say, this is the first Fall Out Boy album I've listened to where I listened to everybody in the band. I was like, oh wow, that's some good guitar work. Oh wait, there's the bass. Oh, that's some good singing. Wow, the drums are really going crazy. I say all that to say that I love this album. And if you have given up on Fall Out Boy, please, I beg you, listen to this album. Give it a shot. Now at my number 1 spot, I have an album by an artist where people will probably laugh at me. People will be like, wow, how could you put that at number 1? Why would you put that at number 1? He doesn't deserve to be at number 1. This is my opinion. And in my opinion, this is my favorite and best album that I heard in 2023.
You gotta go with the flow, cause the tides always turn, and sink or swim, diving in is the best way to learn. Kick up the sand, cause your tan proves you live through the burn, and when you wipe out, it's gonna hurt. You can't stop.
Yes, coming in at number 1 is the album Coco Moon by Owl City. This is at number 1 for so many reasons. In a world where you get an album that is addressing all the negativity in the world, Adam Young, the sole member of Owl City, is shedding just a much needed light of happiness on the world. I literally can't talk or think about this album without smiling. What I hear is a dude whose soul is so full of love and happiness and is just so vibrant that he just writes happy music because he wants to. I just love and have to respect that Adam Young sat down and wrote an entire album that is happy. Adam Young's ability to tell a story in one song is absolutely unmatched on this album. The way he's able to paint a picture so vividly in your mind is super impressive. This album comes off sincere, it comes off as endearing, and it comes off as somebody who sat down and just had fun writing an album. I understand you've probably heard the song Fireflies. It might drive you insane. I don't care. Please check this album out because I genuinely think this is an important album and one that everybody should hear. And because of all of that, it is my favorite album of 2023. So thank you again for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. This one was probably more long-winded than my other videos. But thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want. I post videos once a year, so do whatever you want. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next video.